spread one love, okay? Thanks for tuning in to us, the MNM Show.
MNM Show.
And welcome back to another episode of the MNM Show. Here we are live at the One Love Massive headquarters in historic Shaw, Washington, D.C. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew. And I am your host, Nikki. We are here with Molly and Mills. Molly, how you doing?
What's up?
Good to see ya.
Good to see you.
Yes.
It's good to see you.
And we are here with the one and only, the real
J Mills.
and Naughty Nina.
Oh.
I thought I left her at home today.
That was the Naughty Nina voice to me.
It was? Oh. Just on sharing the link. Make sure you share. So we got a couple people in the room. Share the link so other people can tune in.
Yes, please like and share. Share our show.
Yeah, man.
Share our show.
Trying to be a good girl, you know.
Hashtag MNM Show One Love.
Yep.
Hashtag Molly, Nikki, Mills. So it's the three of us today, ladies. It's going to be a real intimate show today.
Hey now.
We get to get intimate and closer to each other.
Why are you taunting Naughty Nina like this? It's like you want her to come out. Like, seriously.
I don't know. That's just what came out of me.
Oh.
So she apparently, I don't know. I'm
And
inspired.
It just keeps coming.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So as per usual, I like to do a deeper check-in.
I mean, come on, Nikki. Jesus Christ.
Deeper.
But even
Yeah.
my sexy voice is still like cheesy and corny. So
Add more breath to it.
Yeah.
Try it again. Add all of the breath in your lungs with your words.
I don't know. I'm pregnant. It's hard to breathe as it is. That's as sexy as it gets for me right now.
Does it feel like you just have like a watermelon
See how you did that?
attached to your stomach?
Speaking. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta practice
Wait, what is it?
on the next MNM Show.
Oh.
Whoa. Yeah, you heard that.
Get it in, girl.
Oh.
As I
Well,
reach for my whiskey.
Exactly. Let me put my tea down. Switch my cups.
so yeah, ladies, that deeper check-in. What's been going on with you this past week here? It's been a week since our last show. Shout out to Angela Nicole Winfield, so graciously joining us, and excited to be here. Sorry for those of you who were expecting Uptown Expo. We had a little technical difficulty, some scheduling difficulty, but he will be joining us in the very near future.
But instead, I'm going to rap, so.
Yes!
I know, right?
For real?
No, absolutely
I
not.
was like, wait a minute.
That's fun to think about.
It is. How are you doing, Molly? What's been good? What's been mediocre?
Well, you know, fuck all the mediocre shit because I'm not trying to cry on air. But it's been an interesting week. I ran into someone wearing a shirt that said DC or Ricky is DC. And long story short, Diageo, the #1 liquor distributor in the world, who works with National Wholesale and Breakthrough Beverage, which are the two distribution companies in DC. Like, every bar has to get their liquor from those two people. And they did some event in New Orleans and made these shirts that said, Ricky is DC, and stole my font and my DC as fuck design, like the DC that I made with the flag in it. Like, complete rip.
But who is Ricky?
Like a fucking gin Ricky or whatever. It's like a cocktail.
Oh, okay. That's
What is
like a
DC? Does it mean something different than the District of Columbia?
I think they were trying to say like Ricky is DC as fuck. that's what they were like going for. So they made these shirts and they gave them to the DC bartenders when they were in New Orleans for this event. But a few of them like refused to wear it. Some of them wear it. And I'm gonna find you motherfuckers who wore that shit. Just kidding, I'm not, but like fuck you. So yeah, Diageo stole my shit.
Sounds like they got a monopoly going on too in the city as well.
Oh, 100%, man. 100%. Well, it's, it's weird. It's all the alcohol regulations. So, like, people can't just buy from Diageo. So, Diageo has to sell it to those two companies. And, like, one company has, like, they basically all have the same stuff, but, like, one of them only, like, carries Hennessy and the other one has, like, so if you own a bar, you have to go through both of them. But you can't, like, that's why it's illegal to have, like, Costco liquor behind your bar because you have to buy it from Washington Wholesale, which is now Breakthrough Beverage, or Republic National.
Which really sucks.
Yeah,
it's quite a monopoly.
It is quite a monopoly.
It's horrendous.
It's really interesting.
It's terrible.
So it's definitely disappointing to know that a company with that much money is stealing designs from local artists.
Well, they're still in business from everybody else. It kind of goes in line.
Facts. It's really not that.
Well, we're calling them out today.
Yes.
Calling them out.
Publicly.
So and apparently they want to do more community bolstering events and be a big part of bigger things that bolster the community. And so
are they going to pay you?
A friend of mine who works in that realm brought it up at a meeting and advocated for me and showed the head of the East Coast operations the picture. And she was apologetic, and apparently he's going to reach out to me. So I am hopeful. But that's always a nice little ripple in your week when you look up and you realize, like...
people think your shit is so cool, they're stealing it.
Yeah.
Yep. You've made it to
which
a
is
new
a nice
level.
way to look at it.
You've made it to a new level.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's interesting. But it's really nice to know that I have friends that, like, give a shit and, like, rallied for me in those meetings. So it's nice to know that no matter what...
people got your back.
People got my back, and so that's cool.
Yeah.
And then in other good news, I signed a lease on the building next door.
Hey.
Which is slightly terrifying because it's like more debt, more responsibility, more rent I got to pay every month. But I won't call the cops for noise complaints on myself, so there's a serious win there. So that way we don't have to worry about the productions that we're doing and the recording that we're doing here and disturbing anybody. And so that's exciting. I definitely feel more rooted to the block and the neighborhood than before, and that feels good. I'm invested. I'm here for the long haul, and feels good.
Maybe some artist housing situation, rental situation.
That's definitely the goal. I've got some big long-term, short-term plans for that whole artistic community. Ecosystem,
We'll be looking forward to the story,
yes,
the saga of Next Door.
But I will say this: so I've been listening to a lot of like sleep hypnosis videos on YouTube and like guided meditations because I needed
like the white noise kind of videos, or like
it's
someone talking to you.
It's both. So it's like that like vibrational frequency like stuff,
Tibetan singing bowls and stuff.
And exactly. And then and there's different ones. So there's like for pain management, for inflammation, for wealth, there's a lot of different healing frequencies just on YouTube you can listen to.
Word to solfeggio frequencies. That's SOLFEGGIO solfeggio frequencies.
Nice. See, that's good. I'm glad Jay knows more about it. I just know it's working. So I've been doing like if I wake up in a lot of pain, which has been the last few months, I listen to a guided meditation, and then I start listening to the just the frequencies, and then I got into sleep hypnosis for like success and whatever. And I have to say that like I really feel like there's something to it. Like even if it's placebo effect, just like putting effort into wanting to feel better or putting effort into like wanting to succeed. And I think the greatest lesson that I learned this week is like I counted myself out of a lot of things so many times. Like it just happened to be that the people next door were moving out, and I just happened to walk by when they were unloading their shit, and I was like, yo, it just happened that way. And my credit's not great. I don't have a ton of money right now. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody has good credit.
Yeah, I have a lot of things working against me in the attractive tenant category, you know. But I went for it anyway, you know. And the guys who own the house bought it, you know, 10 or 15 years ago, and they're artists themselves, and they lived there for a number of years, and they're super supportive. And the universe has provided. And so that's what I'm saying is like, you know, I really feel like, you know, if you're struggling, you know, just putting any kind of effort into feeling better can really produce tremendous results.
Gotta think positive.
Yes. And if you can't, just fucking put a YouTube video on and let them do it for you. I mean, you know, shit. I don't know. What do you think about, like, sleep hypnosis? They say that, like, your body, like, even though you're sleeping, you can still, like, listen to, like, subliminal messages and, like, process them. So the nighttime ones, like, for weight loss, they'll be like, you're not going to crave sugar tomorrow. You're going to drink a lot of water. Like, you know, just all, like...
Yeah, it's interesting. In my weekly recap, got to give a shout out to the Women's Holistic Summit, the Women's Holistic Healing Summit that was this past Saturday, March 31st, where the question was asked about meditation and astral traveling. And after this young lady asked that question, so many other hands shot up in the audience. We didn't have enough time to talk about meditation and the deepness, but I bring that up because the first question I asked, you know, was where does your mind go when you sleep? And, you know, just understanding the true power of your mind and what is real and what we've been told is real is something that two other people can witness. Without that, it's not real.
It's not real,
it won't hold up in nobody's court. Your marriage ain't real.
Right.
Your death ain't even real. Nothing is real unless somebody else can say, yeah, that happened. But that's not the truth.
Right.
The realest things that can happen to you, only you know. Only you can feel. Sometimes you can hope that someone else can experience that feeling with you, but the actual interaction of those real moments are just for you to perceive. And when you ask about, you know, what's possible, you know, can you play this while you sleep and things like that, your subconscious mind is so powerful. It's so powerful. Your conscious mind that's attached to the ego, that's attached to the body,
environment,
that's attached to the environment, and things that are actually not real. These things are not real. What's really real is who you are inside. And this isn't a metaphysical message. I'm going to pause there. Maybe I know what I'm going to talk about later and go into that. But, yeah, you can totally program yourself for anything. It's mind over matter. If you think you can, you can. And there are a lot of ways to think that you can. And fooling the subconscious first, whether it's playing the frequencies or actually playing these motivational messages or, you know, chants or whatever it is, it can affect you in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it, man. You know, I was standing in the room with Brandon the other day and just looking at, you know, standing in this empty house, just being like, you know, looking at the Howard Theater. Like, that's what started the journey here, was coming in the building and looking at the Howard Theater. And it just kind of all hit me and made me really grateful to, you know,
manifest your dreams,
you know, and just be willing to try, you know what I mean? It's definitely a big responsibility and a lot more stress too, but it's a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? So just feeling very fortunate for that, you know, and trying to keep things in perspective. I know, especially right now, you know, where I was just talking to Ice Cold. She's in the building. She's upstairs, actually.
Hey.
Hey. And we need the air horn sound effect right now.
Pew, pew, pew.
So yeah, I mean, you know, just, I think it's just, you know, it's tough. It's winter. We're not super active. It's fucking dark and cold a lot. And I feel like everybody, she's like, I'm just trying to find the spark. I'm just trying to feel something. And I'm like, oh man, what if we're all kind of feeling that way right now? Like, you know, what if like, you know, every single thought and feeling you have every day is like the same exact thought and feeling everyone else is having every day. Like, wow.
That would be meta.
Especially since you're pregnant. But yeah, but you know what I mean? I'm just ready for the sun to come out and to get warm and to be able to ride my bike every day.
Yeah. And you know, I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm excited because you can feel spring starting to come. You see the cherry blossoms popping and different flowers and, you know, daffodils popping and stuff. But then I'm sad because it's supposed to like snow again.
Shut up.
And I'm just like, no, because then it's going to like
Kill
damage
them.
all of those blooms. And then more are going to bloom, but it's going to be like half as glorious as it can be in DC. And like when DC has a spring that actually like flows in the way that it's like winter and then the nice gradual transition so that there's none of that like March backlash with the snow. Like it is so just gorgeous and magical here, and it's part of the reason I can never leave. Honestly, it feels like we live in magical Care Bear land forest here. It's just, it's gorgeous. So I was kind of sad about that, but
well, you know, maybe it'll just toughen them up a little bit and they'll just be really robust for spring and
maybe. But probably not. We have seen this before. But, you know, shout out to getting in tune with one's subconscious in your dreams. This reminds me of a very interesting pregnancy dream that I had just a couple of days ago, actually. So I dreamt that I had my baby, and it did not have a gender. It wasn't a boy or a girl. Like, that was unclear to me in the dream.
The gender was fluid.
It was fluid. And, like, there were times when I thought it was a little boy, but then, like, I knew it was a little girl. So, anyway, there was that. But the child, like, was a genius. And at, like, 6 months, it was walking. And, like, its first word was, like, sustainable or something, like, ridiculous. And, like, you know, like,
only you would have that happen, though. Like, I'm waiting for it now.
And the baby started speaking, you know, in like full sentences, like really quickly. And the coolest thing about the baby, though, was that it could transform into a kitten.
What? That's pretty convenient.
Started with that.
That's the most cool thing, though. So, like, when the baby watching it, like, oh my gosh, your first word, like celebrating and everything. And then there's other moments where I remember, like, the baby as a kitten, like hiding under the couch.
Come here, baby cat.
You know?
Not what I expected you to say. Like rubbing its belly, like hiding under the couch.
I loved it all the same, you know? And okay, so speaking of things that are real to you, but maybe not to other people, to me, like, my husband is a cat. Like, he is a lion, and he has feline features in the way that he moves, and he's also a Leo too. So, like, he has, to me, like a large cat energy. So maybe in my mind, I think that I'm having a little like cub or kitten, you know, or something like that. So maybe that's how it all came together and manifested. But I don't know.
That's dope.
Or maybe Chris is Lionel.
Maybe.
And you're about to have a Transformer baby. Who's half baby, half kitten. I feel like this is all solid.
It
no matter what.
It could very well happen. Chris is also, I think, part like metal, part robot as well. So there's a likelihood that it could also have some kind of robotic features.
We might be onto something here. Thundercat.
So it is definitely like poop, 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 like punching in my belly a lot these days. So getting ready to come out and battle.
So wait, what sign is your baby most likely going to be?
I think if the baby is born July 3rd, actually on the day that it's predicted, then the baby would be a Cancer, which is interesting for myself as an Aquarius, and my husband is a Leo. We have two very powerful energies that complement each other. I don't know if like the Cancer is on the you're compatible with list with Aquarius and Leo or not. I don't know, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter because our baby's going to be the greatest thing in our lives, and we already love her so much as is. So we do.
Are we allowed to talk about that? Do you have a lighter, Jason? Do you have a lighter? I really need a lighter. Oh, so
Hey,
good.
Santos.
Yes.
Shout out to The Lab Cypher Show, another incredible show at One Love Massive.
One of my favorites for sure.
Absolutely. Catch it on live.onelovemassive.com.
It actually is my favorite, aside from the MNM Show, but...
It's dope.
It's so dope, man. They do such a good job of it.
They do. It's a real highlight and promotion of hip hop culture, DC culture. You know, it's building community. People meeting each other. Jay Mills is on the show, tearing it up, flossing on there. It was such a great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to 06 Chris, my husband.
He's such a good,
and Santos.
Yeah, they're such a good team together, too.
They
it's
are.
Awesome to see them do their thing.
They also visioned and manifested.
Yeah.
You know, these shows didn't exist without an idea, a want, to showcase the cool things about DC and to project confidence in our personalities that we can do this. You can be a regular person and manifest your dreams and have a podcast or get a building or have a baby, whatever it is.
Create a whole ass person inside of you.
We can do miracles.
It's crazy.
They come in all forms.
It is. I love watching that show. I remember the first time I saw 06 Chris, Chris.
Be 06, become 06.
What? What is this? Oh, it was the best thing ever. I mean, especially to work, next to him a lot, and then to see that, and I'm like, that's so fucking cool. That's so inspiring.
My husband.
Yeah, he's awesome. I hope the camera's on Nikki right now.
I love him. He makes me happy. And shout out to Chris again. I love you. If you are watching, it is our 1 year anniversary of being married this weekend. So that's pretty exciting to reflect on. The year went by quickly.
How did you guys meet?
Well, Chris and I met back in, I think it was 2008, 2009, and we met through a mutual friend. Chris is from 757, from Chesapeake, Virginia. Hey! It's always awesome at One Love Massive. Superstars rolling through and whatnot.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get.
So Chris is from 757, and he went to high school with this other cat, and I became friends with that person because they moved up here to DC. So then Chris eventually moved to DC, and we met through that friend, and we were both dating other people at the time, but we became friends. We just had a lot in common, and then he moved actually and went to Vegas to do. He was a TV newscaster for one of the news channels there, like a camera guy for a local news station. And then he went on this cross country bicycle trip with his best friend. And
I didn't know he did that. That's super awesome. I want to do that.
Yeah.
I still want to do it.
He has
I want to do it
incredible
across
story.
Europe, though. But yeah,
he has a great story. But then, after the bike trip, he was ready to come back to the East Coast. So I was like, you should totally come back to DC because I miss you and I think you're awesome. And he came back for a visit, and then we basically just never split.
That's so cute.
We are cute. But anyway, yeah.
Because I remember, I don't even know how we became friends on Facebook.
Me either.
I really have no idea how. But we've been friends for quite some time on there.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing your post when you were single, bitching about shitty dudes.
Yes.
Or just not shitty dudes.
Street
just
cat
dating.
calling
just
and dating.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my God.
I posted a meme earlier and I was like, dating in 2018 be like, but low-key I was crying when I posted it because it's so fucking real. Jesus Christ.
Dude.
What?
Yeah, dating in DC.
When did people become so heartless? That's what I don't understand. I'm all for an Irish goodbye, but this ghosting culture is just fucking really
What's the
heartless.
ghosting culture?
Where they just disappear.
Oh.
Just disappear.
A ghoster.
You're a ghoster? What's up with that, Jay Mills?
But like, will you show like the all inness and then ghost, or will there be like signs for like someone who's paying attention, or are you just a straight up ghoster?
Nah.
I don't know. I think
What does that mean? I don't. Which one of those nahs was I supposed to interpretate? I don't know.
I am taking care not to become the monster that hurt me.
Yeah.
However, I can't help it.
Real talk.
And there she is. I'm gonna need more whiskey.
I'm just thinking about it because, like, I don't know, like, dating nowadays is different. I feel like, men don't really court the way they used to.
Did you say court?
Yeah, we missed the courting phase.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, what do I owe you for real if I decide that I no longer care for you as a suitor? Why do you keep trying? It wouldn't be a ghost if you didn't keep calling. How many times is it going to take you to realize that you should just move on with your life? Why do I owe you anything? Really? You a job? Am I your job? How much do you expect from the place that you worked at? Who am I? Like, I think that people right now are really, really self-entitled, and this closure that you seek is for what? What is the conversation that you want to have? You really want this person to tell you why they don't like you? What difference does it make?
No. But I feel like if you're just like, hey, man, I'm super busy. Like, I'm just not going to be around. Like, there's ways to be like, I'm out.
I've tried that, and most people, then they start finding reasons. Oh, that's okay. I'm busy too. I can wait. Oh, look, dog, I'm over you.
To put it bluntly.
Fuck you.
I found you mildly entertaining, and now I found somebody who entertains me more. Hey, you were cool and all, but I like this guy now.
And that's
like, you really want to hear that? Like, what? Why? Why can't you just move on? Like, that's what I don't understand.
Because people are, because human decency, man. If you're just dating and fucking or whatever, but like, I don't know,
people
like,
got ghosted all the time before cell phones and social media. The shit just happened.
I think I've definitely ghosted on some people, and then I think some people have definitely ghosted on me. And then there's other times where I've been ghosted on. I was like, damn, I didn't want to be ghosted on, and probably some dudes felt that way about me too.
It's
but
all circular.
sometimes
no one's not guilty. I've ghosted on people too.
Yeah.
At this point, once
you
start
do what
dating,
you gotta do.
You've been alive for a couple decades. You were living well before you met this motherfucker.
Like 2 weeks ago, actually.
Yo.
So.
Now there's somebody that
So actually
like I'm dealing right now. I'm trying to figure out how to break up with people that you do not date, that you're not even in a relationship with.
Right.
In an effort
it's
to not
rough.
Ghost.
But some Jameson?
Again, it's like a mental conundrum. Like, why do I have to? Who are you?
Well, you know what it is?
Really? You're somebody I call? Somebody I wrote your face a couple times?
Oh, my God.
Come on.
Jesus.
Oh,
get over it.
That kind of friend.
Oh, wait.
I thought you were talking about, like, a real friend.
Oops.
But, like, a friend. A friend.
See, I'm just not, I'm just not built that way. I'm not just hanging out on motherfuckers' faces, just like all nonchalant and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna put some energy and effort into it. I'm gonna communicate
put energy
with
and
you.
effort into writing. Oh, never mind.
Different kind of energy and effort.
I don't know, but
I mean, there's levels to it. I'm not saying every motherfucker on the planet deserves an explanation or whatever.
No.
But I just feel like so often that we try to like portray ourselves as like what we think is what other people want, and then once we get somebody like to really like us, then we show who we really are. And I'm over that shit. I'm done with it. Like, I'm vulnerable. I'm fucking emotional. I'm a loving, caring human being, and I want something more in my life. And if that makes me fucking lame for saying that, then guess what? I'm fucking lame.
It doesn't though. And see, like, I feel that way when I'm with my husband. Like I can really just be myself.
Right.
And prior to Chris, there's nobody that I ever really was with that I felt like I 100% could be myself.
Well, it's a good thing you married him then. Huh?
I know, because like I got my good days and I got my messy days and stuff.
Just like every other human on the planet.
Yeah.
Like it's not realistic to think like, you
exactly.
know what I mean?
And for like a lot of guys or people that you're trying to impress, like you don't want them to see those messier sides of you.
And
but
them
like,
them too. They're not trying to be vulnerable or fucking appear to be weak. But like they have bad days too. Like,
but it gets exhausting when you can't be really real with someone. There just comes, at least I think, in a certain point in your life where you just want to be around a partner or friends or family where you can really, really just be you. Say some effed up shit, and know that they're still gonna love you, or do some messed up things. They're still gonna love you, or, do the best things and they're gonna want the best for you and encourage you and, just be there for you on the ups and the downs. Those are the people that at the end of the day, like you really want there for you to get through life.
Definitely. I mean, I watched this Oprah masterclass, and I can't remember the name of the woman that was on there, but she had this message about recognizing the kind of love that you have to give. And she used a comparison of cowboy hats, 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 10 gallon, huge, whatever. And if you're a person who has this big 10-gallon hat and you're dealing with somebody who just has a 1 gallon hat, you have all of this love to give, but you're not showing how deep that is. You're just eking it out and you're eking it out and they're eking it out and they're eking it out. And when you're finally like, okay, I like this person, I'm ready to pour myself into them. You're trying to pour 10 gallons in a 1 gallon hat.
And it ain't going to work.
And it ain't going to work. But you would have known that
if you had just been yourself.
If you had been yourself the whole time. But it's so vulnerable. And she was talking about how I saw the follow-up, and there was this guy who said, I took your advice. I showed this person who I was. I told this girl that I loved her and I wanted to be with her for the rest of my life. And she said, I don't feel the same way. And we broke up. And you gave me the wrong advice. But
she didn't, because she doesn't love him, and so it's better for him to know that sooner.
Yeah, so in watching that, I was just like, yo, I gotta be me. And I have a whole lot of love to give. I'm a very loving person. I have a lot of attention to give. I cannot play myself cheap or act like I don't care when I really, really do care a lot, a whole fucking lot. Like, you're going to get this work, and it's either going to be too much, and you're going to fall back, and that's cool. Like, please, please, please say I do too much. I call too much. I laugh too much. Say that you like this Mills and not that Mills. And nah, man, ain't no fronts. No fronts. You will get 100% of me. I'm not going to hold back on my goodness. I got weed. I'll smoke you out, whatever. Like, I got to see how you can, if you can handle all of me. And thus far, it's worked. I see in being myself who becomes uncomfortable, who can't take the way I love, who does not like my love language. And I stopped being frustrated and started being happy and really like paying attention to how people are responding to me, so it doesn't have to take so long. I'm not afraid to just be myself, my whole self. And I pour this love into my friendships. That's the other thing. Like, just in female, male, like my friendships, I want to cook for you. I think that people kind of reserve this love for just their significant other. And it's more than just sex being in a relationship. You know what I mean? It's just being there for somebody, talking to them, So I just enjoy just pouring that love and getting in touch with that love and breaking that attachment, so I don't feel like, I only cook for a boyfriend. No, I cook for my girlfriends. I cook for my friends. I cook. I love to cook for people I love. If I love you, I'm going to cook for you. Just giving that love. I love to hug. I'm going to hug my friends. I like to go out drinking. I'm going to drink with my friends. Shout outs to this bottle on the table, You know, and the J we smoking, I don't have to be in a relationship to give this love and to speak this love language. And it allows me to not be afraid of being vulnerable, because at the end of the day, that makes me super strong.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I read this book called The 5 Love Languages. Actually, have y'all heard of it?
No.
So
maybe you should send it to me, because your 5 eyes of
feedback
shit out is fucking awesome.
They're magical. I know.
Yeah.
So there's this guy who I forget his name, but he's been like a relationship counselor for like, I don't know, 20 or 30 years, and he does seminars and has written books and whatnot. Like, huge following. And I'm the worst because I can't remember his name, but the book is called The 5 Love Languages. And basically it's about how, kind of like what Jay was saying with the Oprah Masterclass and the different buckets, but people from the time they are kids or whatever, like develop a particular one or two like stronger love languages than the others, and that's how they communicate their love and or like to receive love as well. So one of the love languages is and this is just his theory about how people show love. So one is gift giving, for example. And some people love to give gifts, some people love to receive gifts. Whereas a person like myself, I like to give gifts, but like I don't care that much about gifts. I care more about, which is another love language, physical affection, which isn't just about sex. It's about so intimacy, holding hands, touching, hugging, kissing, you know, just being close. Like, that's really important to me. So that's another love language. Third love language, affirmations. Some people really feel loved and valued when their partner affirms them and what they're doing and gives like positive encouragement and feedback on their life or their projects, their work, whatever it is they're doing. That's how they feel loved. Another is fourth language is acts of service. You know, so for example, my husband, one of the ways that he shows his love is by consistently taking the trash out for me.
That's a big one.
Even though like, he doesn't like to do it, but he knows I hate doing it. So like he'll take care of it. He does that for me, you know?
Yeah. Those are huge things.
Yeah. Acts of service, you know, what you're actually doing for the individual. And there's a fifth love language. And why am I drawing a blank?
Is it
words of affirmation?
Binge drinking?
It is not binge drinking.
Words of affirmation. Did you say that already?
I said that already. That was the third one. Let me look it up. 5 love languages and find this author's name.
Well, you know, it's funny because I feel like I am an affectionate, like, you know,
Gary Chapman.
Go ahead, Gary Chapman.
Yes.
I feel like I'm an affectionate, like, love-filled person, but then, like, I'm not able to actually express that. You know, and so mine is acts of service.
Yeah. See, and
so I'm not great at communicating shit or, like, even when I was a kid, I remember, so I'm the youngest of 4, and, like, I don't remember much from being a kid, you know, probably blocked a lot of it out, but, I remember, like, when my parents, and it's like a big family joke, they would say, you know, hug and kiss your brothers goodnight. And I would reach out my hand and I would say, pleasure doing business with you. And I think the first time I did that was like 4, so I don't even know where I got it from. But, like, it's just ingrained in me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just like, but I am an incredibly affectionate person, but it just has to be, like,
in a different way.
Yeah. You know, and so I resonate with those things. Because acts of service is definitely, like, how I show love to, like, all the people around me.
You know?
More so than always being able to, like, communicate that.
And then the last one, I found it love language is quality time. So like how you spend
Yes.
time together and what you do there. So like what you were saying, for example, like if you, Molly, are someone who loves to give words of affirmation and positively encourage people and receive that back, but you're dating someone who is more of like a gift giver, you might like receiving gifts, but like you may never feel like you can fully open up or get the kind of love that you need because they're not speaking your love language. And so communication is like so key, and just being self-aware, right? So that you can actually communicate to your friends, your family, your lovers, like what you need to actually feel full. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I definitely understand. I think that another thing with the love languages and understanding, what language you speak, what language you don't, what language may be a trigger, depending on past relationships, persons who acted in a certain way and spoke heavily in a particular love language. If that if that relationship was toxic, you can look at that language in a toxic way. So speaking personally, as you ran down them, I was thinking about certain things that I do. The gift giving one is a trigger for me. It's hard to accept the gifts or to see that as love. It almost makes me reject it.
Me too.
But I know that that's a trigger, because of people who've tried to pay for my love, but not really. They weren't paying for my love. It's like they were paying for my body. I think that they want my love because of the gifts that they're giving. But in all actuality, they just feel like they've paid to have my body. Yeah. And they really don't want me. So while I love to give gifts, I do not like to receive them. That's not my love language. I'm not going to say like, don't buy me anything. Yeah. But yeah. That is not the way to show me that you care. Yeah. It's kind of like, thanks.
That's interesting because I feel the same way, but not for the same reasons. But I definitely am not a good gift recipient or like.
And words of affirmation also kind of make me nervous because it feels like, again, trigger people who say what they think I want them to hear. And they're buttering me up and they're selling me dreams and they make me think that they feel this kind of way when in all actuality, they're a charlatan. It was a sham. It was all a fiasco.
This is DC, so you never know what
this
people's
is what they
motives
do.
are.
They just gas women up and call them beautiful and just say all these different things. So yeah, that's definitely not my love language either. Yeah.
So and it's interesting because like I have a person that's like intrinsically close to me throughout my entire life that is not a male, who is either gassing me all the way up, telling me I'm gonna be a household name and the best thing ever, or going for my jugular. Like there's no in between with this person. It's not a male, so it's not that energy, but it's the same, you know what I mean?
Love language.
And so I have a really hard time with that as well because it's like people that like, give me a bunch of compliments or, I'm just like, and it's not even that I like immediately like associate. It's just like, it's just hella uncomfortable. Yeah. Well, because it's like I'm waiting for the fall. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know me. You know what I mean? Spend a lot of time with me. Work 2 14-hour days in a row with me and then tell me how you feel. And I'll believe you. You know what I mean? But like, it's interesting.
Well, what works really well is the 4 eyes of feedback.
I really need to write those down because I tried to do that one time. staff or something, and I couldn't remember all of them, and I tried to Google it, and yours are unique, girl.
Nope.
You are killing it with your 4 eyes. I need those. They're very good.
This is some very special organizer wisdom.
We got some dope people in the chat room.
Oh,
I
shit.
just scrolled up, man.
Hey,
shit.
hey.
We should say what's up to them.
Shout out to all the followers.
Shout outs to Mina, Artemis,
Hey,
Chioma,
hey.
J.R. Moore, Lee Lindsay, Maurice Skip Harvey.
Oh, shit.
Gave you a shout out. Molly with the hands up.
Oh.
Kenneth Darksey Toyer. Ray Thompson said that if he sees somebody in that fake ass DC shirt, they're getting punched in the fucking face.
That's Ray for real.
That's Ray.
Ray's like my T Street family. What's
Ray
up, Ray?
said that.
Hey.
Said Molly Wop, what up?
Hey.
And we got Nadria Foster.
Oh, man.
All right.
So, shout outs to Krista. Man.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
You know what? Maybe we just need to do more episodes with just us. I'm just saying.
I mean,
Yo, we're awesome.
We are awesome.
I'm a special guest.
But I'm just
you're a special guest.
every time.
You're a special guest with a special guest.
I know.
Oh,
we got double guests here.
We could bring the baby on the podcast. I just can't smoke weed anymore.
What?
But I can drink around the baby, right?
Yeah, I don't know how that would look so much.
No.
For another show topic, but yes, we should definitely do more MNM shows, just the three of us. This is a good conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we can
So a lot
see
of people,
we're going deep today.
Well, you know, because I think
There you go again. It's the eyes. She may not have the voice, but she has Nina eyes.
Yes!
Oh my God.
I've got something.
She's got
the eyes.
Nina. Oh my. It got sultry.
Stop playing.
She gives a smoldering look.
I mean, so we were reflecting earlier about how it's been like almost a year or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know, but we recorded like 4 or 5 episodes before we even like let any of those out.
Yeah.
And then we recorded a bunch of audio.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time sitting around a table together talking
about life in DC and
which is
the
what
nation.
made this show so special in the first place.
I know. Shout out to us.
Yes.
Humble moment. So, that's what's up. You know, 4 eyes of feedback. I think let's go over them again. This is a major wisdom nugget right here.
Wisdom nugget.
Okay?
Make it really big, Nick, over our heads. Not in the corner, not on the side. Make it super big above our heads.
Wisdom nugget.
Drop that nugget.
Nick.
So here's the thing about the wisdom nuggets.
What's up, Jesus,
you know,
by the way? Jesus, right there.
Jesus, what's up, man? So always a full house here at One Love Massive. So with the 4 eyes of feedback, before we talked about on the show is like when you have a confrontation and you need to give feedback. You can use the 4 eyes of feedback for some love stuff too.
Oh,
you know,
shit,
or positive
I never thought about
things.
that. I need these written down,
Yeah,
like tattooed
absolutely.
on my hand. Can we just tattoo them on my hand so I can be like, check yourself?
So it's just a good communication tool to use and check yourself, like before you go into
Before you wreck yourself.
Yes, before you wreck yourself.
Literally.
Or before
And
you need to communicate something that like you feel insecure about or kind of awkward about. You know what I mean? It's just a good way to prep yourself before you go into conversation. So
Which who does that? You know what I mean? What a thing.
I do that.
I know.
So the first I is intent. That is for you to assess what your intent is with the conversation. What is it, you know, that you're trying to get across, that you either want to communicate concretely or that a feeling you want to communicate? Just overall, what's your intent with even having the conversation?
Yes.
Kind of steer yourself, right?
Intent.
Intent.
The first one is intent.
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 Can you make a rap about that?
Intent. I'm going to try.
INTENT. You better check your intent.
Please.
Yes.
So we decided.
So fly right now.
Real quick, we decided we're going to start making records.
We did? When did we decide that?
Well, because.
Like the 3 of us who.
Well, not me.
Okay.
Who's we?
Who's we?
Ladies, like.
The One Love Massive?
Yes, we have this whole studio. We built this thing. We could do anything.
No, you
like,
really can.
You could perform with your favorite go-go band, and we can make like a 3-track EP. I'm just saying, man.
Records.
So
Records.
this is the intent.
Records.
This is the intent of One Love
Records.
Massive. This is an intent. You've checked in with yourself and your people. See, now we're going extra because, like, 4 eyes of feedback with multiple people.
What?
First eye.
Intent.
Second
Okay.
eye.
Second eye is incident. So you want to describe like if it's something that's a problem, that causes, an incident that caused a problem.
I feel like I need to write this
Then
down.
you want to describe.
We need to make like the 4 agreements and shit. And there's like a handy. We need a visual I will help make it. I will make it.
We can do that.
We need a but okay. Intent. Incident.
Dustin is digging the new studio setup.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Thank you.
I'm happy that they like it. It's like, thank you for tuning in to past episodes.
Yeah.
First of all.
And other joints to peep the difference and the growth, Shout out to everybody.
So maybe I should just like rewind the conversation before.
Wait, what?
I'm just saying.
So we're talking about the 4 eyes of feedback.
Yeah.
And the second one is incident. So you just want to describe factually what had happened, whether it's good or bad, actually what happened. And it's really important when I say the word factually what happened, because a lot of times, like when we describe things that happened or that are real to us, they are not real necessarily to other people. So it's, to try to describe things as objectively as possible. And then the third eye is what was the impact of that incident, so
impact,
the impact on you or maybe on the other person, and a lot of times the impact of something that happens between people is not always intentional. People don't all the time do things maliciously, but things end up hurting or feel overwhelming or whatever it is, so to open up the space to talk about what the overall impact was. And then the last and final I is invent. So what is the way that we are going to move forward that makes both of us comfortable and feel loved or valued, respected,
invent.
or whatever
I like that. Invent, because it implies
new beginning,
new way or clearer way, a better way.
Where did you get these 4 eyes of feedback from?
You can't get this just from anywhere. This is from years of organizing and organizational management.
I mean, I love it.
Training.
I love it.
This is real.
I really wish that, like, right now, One Love made enough money that I could just hire you to do all of that.
Build some organizational culture, infrastructure, some team building. That's what I do, man.
Some nonprofit shit that actually fucking mattered and shit.
Actually, that's what I'm doing right now. So we're still checking in, I guess, like on how our week was.
Yeah. We totally did not even get around the table completely.
Really?
I think we did.
Fully?
Yeah, I think you're having a high moment.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I'm working for the Heal Food Alliance right now. It's a new national organization that works on food justice, in particular transformation of corporate food and farm systems. And it's a new organization. It's only been around really for like a year and a half. So we are in the infrastructure development phase, like literally earlier
super
today.
Helpful there. You
I'm
have to
super
be.
helpful. I was like typing up processes for, steering committee elections and nomination forms and membership application forms and, helping develop membership newsletters and calling people and having one-on-ones to learn about their infrastructure, their capacity, their interests, how we can overlap and better work together. That's the kind of stuff that I'm good at and I enjoy doing. So
you are really good at that for sure, man. And while to most people that might sound like
boring
things, but oh my God, processes are the only things that keep companies together.
I know.
And so you can have all these hopes and dreams and shit, and if you don't have a fucking process, you're just
Then
yelling at a bunch of people all fucking day about shit you don't even know about yourself.
It's important, man.
Oh my God.
I was just talking about that with a friend of mine, and just like Just looking forward at business sectors and the macroeconomics of how careers are moving in different ways than they did before. But not quite, because honestly, it's like a really full cyclical cycle of humanity that we're at right now in the scope of civilization. And by that, I mean the expansion of our merchant class. And
talk about it.
Merchant class? What is merchant class?
Entrepreneurs.
Hold up.
Okay.
Oh man, this is like such a deep other tangent on like some really dream stuff. Shout out to the people that are in the room right here. So let me try and fast forward through this and make it really, really succinct. So basically there's like, a pattern of humanity that just always happens, period. You have people that move to a new place. They just came, they're like, we're going to set up a new place. And that's like a village or something, right? And for the first 100 years, it is this village, and then it becomes something different. It becomes like a kingdom. There's a lot of unrest and stuff in the first 100 years, but then from like 1 to 400 is the formation of the kingdom. But then at the 400 to 500 year mark of any civilization, there comes a split where you have the kingdom, the serfdom, and the merchant class. And that's it. You're either of the royal class, or maybe you have a government job, maybe you're in there. We have our government is like the kingdom of America. And we're at this point in time, this is just what happens with countries where people outgrow the kingdom. So you have those who can live within the walls and get all of the benefits that you get from being within this place. And then those that live outside of it. And it's rough.
Outside the kingdom.
It's really rough outside the kingdom. And the only way out, if you are outside the kingdom, is to be within the merchant class. And the merchant class was a dope class. They traveled the world. They were very free because they came up with their own wealth. And it was very expansive. You have a lot of different places that, came into prominence because of their merchant class, because of what was made in that country or that part of that country and in that town or whatever, So that being said, we're seeing the development of our merchant class and that shift happening in our economy, truthfully, with the super rich, the super poor, and those who randomly make that something that launches them into this merchant class. Or maybe you're viral,
right?
Maybe you
an
came
app
up,
or
exactly
Silicon Valley, something where else and you come up with stupid money super fast that just.
But that's the thing, and like with America, our commodity is us. It's the American culture. It's this podcast that we're on right now. It's whatever product or song or clothing item. Like, we have this rare opportunity to really achieve greatness with our merchant class.
But not if you don't put the infrastructure and systems in place.
Ergo the business.
Right.
So what's unfortunate in capitalism, I guess, and just economics, period, is the way business is done, is that the person who is in control of the product or service is rarely the person in control of the business. Rarely. Like, never.
What do you mean?
How many chefs own a restaurant?
Facts. Okay.
How many doctors run the hospital?
Facts.
How many teachers are the superintendents of the school board? We can run it in any category of any industry. The person who owns that business majored in business.
Right.
Oh, you make cars? You design cars? Do you actually own that joint, or you just hired for that? Oh, you design houses? Oh, that's cool. You're an architect, but do you own that company? No.
So do you? I feel like, okay. So I went to Costa Rica recently, right? And I wanna end up there because I feel like, I need to be someplace warm where I cannot be in a lot of pain. And I'm not trying to live in the fucking South.
Real talk.
Okay? So, like, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't want to go someplace and colonize, right? Like, I went with my good friend Pooja. She's Indian. And the whole time we were talking about, like, why are they expats when it's white people, but it's immigrants for everyone else? Like, why, if I go to Costa Rica and retire, am I considered an expat? No, I'm an immigrant. I'm not from there, you know? And so, like, how do you reconcile, like, going someplace that you're not from, right? Mm-hmm. And making sure that you, like, don't take away, that you only, like, bring, you know? And how do you do that? It's by, like, making people co-owners of company, you know? Like, if you build a hotel, make sure there's housing for the people that work there, and then they're also, like, co-owner. Like, how you know, like, like, we can identify all the problems, but, like, how do you fix it? How do you fix it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you move forward? Like you were saying, like, giving people equal ownership. Like, you know, who's working for who? Like, you know what I mean? Does that person creating it?
You saying how do you fix capitalism?
Yeah,
I hear you.
I know that's a really big question to just, like, break out on a Tuesday night, but I'm just saying, given a
loaded question,
but given an opportunity to go someplace, right? And Costa Rica is a great example. It's so much protected land that it's just, like, untouched and beautiful. Jesus, I found the keys. I had them the whole time. Do you want them right now?
By the way.
Okay. So, sorry. I kind of like this open format, though, because it leads itself to, like, some fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So.
And that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So.
Well, just to clarify, because I feel like you're talking about two different things. You're talking about ownership of businesses,
right,
and shifting capitalism, and then you're talking about how to not be a colonizer when you're a new person.
Okay, but it is two totally different things.
Okay.
So let's just talk about, like, just pretend blank slate. Like, how do we fix the problems that we're in? Like, how do we fix the fact that, like, the doctors don't own the hospitals? Right? Like,
there are a lot of cooperatively owned models that are out there, but it's really hard. It's hard, you know, to do business in any form, you know. So doing something cooperatively also presents challenges because it's a different decision-making structure and model than a typical hierarchical structure. So it's something that people have to get used to and accustomed to. But there are cooperatively owned businesses, restaurants, bakeries, housing.
Isn't UPS on some level kind of that way?
I don't know about UPS. But
because I know, like, if you work for UPS, you have, like, stock ownership in the company or, like, something.
Yeah.
That's a little different, stock ownership.
Well, no, I don't want to say that's what it is. I just know that, like, people who work there, like, there's a level of ownership, and I do know also at UPS, like, even the top execs, and I don't think it's every year, but it's every however many years, have to, like, drive the truck for a week.
Yeah.
So that no one ever loses touch with, like, how shit
reality
really is. Because, like, maybe you drove a truck in 70s or 80s or the 90s, but you haven't in 20 years, so you have no fucking idea what it's like to drive a truck, and right? And so I've always respected that about that company, but I feel like
I like that too.
But that's, like, very, you know,
it's rare, you know.
Uneducated. I don't even know if all that's true. I mean, real talk. But
were you gonna say something, Jay? Because I felt like I cut you off, so I wanted to give you a chance. But if not, I'll proceed. Yeah. So I think that, first of all, there are a lot of different cooperatively owned business models that are around the world.
Yeah.
And there certainly are a lot here in the United States, but, like, they just don't get the play.
Like who?
You know? When I worked at ROC, for example.
Okay, which stands for?
The Restaurant Opportunity Center. Check out rockunited.org to learn more about that organization. But they're looking for high road employers across the country that offer living wages, opportunities for mobility up the hiring scale, that give paid sick days, et cetera, to restaurant workers. And some of the restaurants that they found that offer those things were cooperatively owned. And, there's a difference in, and not all of them that were high road employers were cooperatively owned. There were some certainly that had more traditional models that just offered more opportunities than others. But a couple of them were co-ops. And I forget the name, but you can look up Rock United High Road restaurants and see, a list of examples there. But I think the difference is, and actually Rock United themselves are attempting to start different cooperatively owned restaurants for and by restaurant workers. But it has been a struggle. I think operating any kind of business is a struggle, obviously.
Definitely.
But one of the reasons that cooperatives can work is because of that sense of collective ownership.
Yeah.
And like you're making an equal share of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So the business's success is not just dependent, it's dependent on everyone. And like you own that.
I feel like that's the goal. I mean,
but the difference often is, though, like at a cooperative, because you're collectively making decisions and everyone wants to have a living wage. Everyone wants to make sure, that they're covered with health insurance. Like it's a different, or whatever it is, it's a different kind of orientation than one person or a corporation that owns a business that can afford on their level to make sure that the managers or whatever get those things, but then they're disconnected from what everyone else is doing that actually runs the business, as you're saying. But so at least in the restaurant industry, because I worked 17 years in that industry as well, I know oftentimes in just talking about successful infrastructure and making sure a business runs well, a lot of times restaurateurs, one, are not people that have worked, for 20 years in the restaurant industry. Sometimes it's people that have some wealth and they have a really cool idea. So they want to start it up and then they hire other people to like manifest that for them. But they don't have the actual experience of working in a restaurant to understand the chaotic dynamics, to like think those through strategically and put those processes in place. So that ends up being, and you know what, then there's people who have worked in the restaurant industry forever, but then infrastructure development or financial management isn't their particular strength, and it's oftentimes hard for like one person to have all of the different strengths that are necessary to run something successful. You need to have people that you can trust around you helping make decisions.
Like every time.
Do you watch like Bar Rescue?
Yeah.
So, that I guess that's the loop around with what you were saying with business processes and what I was talking about with the merchant class and all these different companies and all these different businesses that are arising. We see, all these different shows where you have this expert that comes in and basically puts the team through a very intensive reevaluation, team building, reconstruction, just total revamp, and allows their brand to fast forward, So that's what I was getting into with people who are not business people. You did not go to school for business. While you were perfecting that craft, perfecting that service, or doing that job, somebody else was learning just business.
Right.
Cold business, nothing but accounting and finance and how to do opportunity costs and how to write business plans and balance sheets and cash flows, and that's it. That's all they did. They didn't come up with the creative business itself. They didn't work on being anything other than a master of business X, product Y, to the point where it doesn't matter what business it is. I know how to operate a business. You know how to create a business process. And that skill in and of itself is something that really needs to be brought to the community. All these people who are starting businesses, as you have persons who, in the beginning, that's how it is. I have a great service. I make cakes. I design clothes. I do XYZ, and I want to sell it. and they're making tons of mistakes oftentimes as they build their business, and they make it really successful. Their art may be dope as fuck. They may be a great artist and they're selling hella CDs or getting thousands of downloads and they got all these followers, but you don't know shit about business. Though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it takes all of those different elements to make a successful operation run. You know, someone that is an expert in business but hasn't done actual work on the ground is going to have a different perspective and orientation from someone that's been through the reality of it. So I think it takes all those different elements. But then also, you know, I know that like at business school, not at all of them, but I think the kind of dominant narrative is how to do business in capitalism, right? How you operate and like perpetuate like a hierarchical kind of system. I don't think that at the best business schools, they're teaching people this is how you set up business for cooperatively owned visions.
Well, they definitely do that. Yes, very much
so.
Shout out
but
to
I don't
Howard.
think it's the dominant.
Whoop, School of B. Because that's all I could talk about. Whoop, whoop. That's School of B, which is the best because Howard is the best in spite of what you may have recently heard about the misappropriation of funds. The institution.
They're not alone, though.
Howard
Lots of other universities have
that
the
is
same
true.
problems.
Has always and will always be the Mecca.
But they teach about cooperative economics at the Howard Business School, you're saying?
Yes. I mean, but, you know, economics in and of itself is a doozy. And I think that with capitalism, the concept of free lunch and what that means is necessary to understand. Word to Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged, another book that is necessary to understand capitalism and its justification for itself. Some call it the bootstrap mentality or whatever, that with all of these tools available, if you could be a billionaire, then if you're homeless, if you don't have a job, that's your fault. And we owe you nothing. And culturally speaking, that is unnatural to me.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't get down with that.
You know, like
all.
The next step is socialism. But socialism came with blood. There's not a country that's socialist that didn't have a very bloody revolution. Word to the French Revolution.
I don't think there's any kind of government form that didn't come without blood.
Yeah. And in France, you know, if you're making over, I feel like it's 1.73 million euros, they tax you at over 70%. 70.
Yeah, it used to be like that in the United States.
Well, no, even here.
Not if you were rich.
In the FDR days, this is a long time ago.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Right now.
That's what paid for the New Deal.
Yes.
But they wasn't having that. And then the rich started, you know, that's what creates offshore bank accounts and, you know, people doing shady stuff with the money because they don't want to pay for this American tax rate. But the ideal that founded this, that allowed for socialism even to rise, is this idea that, you know, this is the bottom line that everybody should live at.
Yeah.
Period. Like,
yeah, well,
everybody deserves a place to live. No one should be homeless.
Yeah, man.
We didn't call it.
Our guest that was here when you weren't here, and she was
from One DC.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody deserves free health care.
Queen Yasmina.
Everybody,
yes.
You know, finding out
Queen,
about other countries where this happens. You know, like they make it seem like it's so foreign and it's gonna bank. No, it won't.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to do 70%. But the fact that you are allowing people who make over that same amount of money get taxed less than somebody who's making a third of that amount of money is crazy. You should not be taxing somebody who's making six figures less than someone who's making 7.
Yeah.
To me, that's simple mathematics.
So this is something that I'm glad you brought it up because we need to do the research so we can follow up on this on another show. But I know years ago, and this is an ongoing debate and battle in Washington, D.C., but people are always trying to redo what the tax brackets are here in the district. I know like 5 years ago, when I was up on this, if you made $40,000, you were being taxed the same as people in the $200,000 bracket. And
really?
yeah. And so, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense because of the actual cost of living. It's very hard to get by as a single person, let alone family, on $40,000 with what the cost of housing, transportation, childcare, food, gas, insurance, health, utilities. It's hard to make it by
It is.
on that. And so there's city services that need beefing up that can, help the city get by faster and better and more efficiently. But we're always cutting away from those services that enable people to flourish and get on their feet a little bit better because we don't want to increase the taxes on the wealthiest people here in the district.
So what we should do is voluntary socialism. And I wish I was running for something more because that would be my platform.
This is a step.
Hey. But my definition of voluntary socialism is understanding how the system works for taxes. And if you have a lot of money, make it work for yourself. We have tax deductible donations. Be like all these rich people, give millions to a tax deductible charity and get your money back. If you give
and give to
what they're gonna take, you get that back, and it's like you didn't pay taxes at all. Wash that money out.
And
Just go ahead and give back, and you actually get it back. Like, it's so simple, and our government is set up to allow you to do that. So if we had more people who were just like, I'm going to give this money, instead of trying to find tax shelters and, make these shell companies so that you claim a loss, so you're not really making and having a tax at the tax rate.
It's greed, man.
It's greed. And the way these taxes are set up, businesses can cheat the system too and do that shit.
And more people need to form nonprofits and form the organizations that can take those donations, and the people with the money need to fund the people.
Yes,
who are
we
doing
need to
good
make
shit
it.
so
Just
that they
fucking
can
make
form
it.
The nonprofits, and then they can get the tax right.
Word to the grants that you've gotten. Like, people really don't know what's out there. If you just do it, build it, ask for it, and get it.
Great example, the Funk Parade. Funk Parade is a nonprofit organization. Chuck Levins recently said, hey, we'll match any donation that comes through, because at the end of the day, the Funk Parade is a nonprofit organization, and so for them, it's a great tax write-off, and they really give a shit about the Funk Parade and everything it represents. It's a win-win for everybody. That's a perfect example of, like, the game exists. You know what I mean? Yeah. Play it. Like, and if there's so many people with great ideas who don't even have the money to form a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. So if you're somebody with that money, help people form nonprofits in the areas that need it, because
business development, business process development, all of these things, that is the wave, because we are entering the merchant class, the merchant phase of 100%. Civilization, and the help is needed.
And give it to the people that can do the most with it.
I want to give a shout out to, and I know I've given them a shout out on the show before, but I want to give a shout out this week to Jews United for Justice. And you can check out their website at jufj.org. The reason I'm shouting them out is because they're doing a free organizing class for people. Word. And so organizing skills are translatable to starting a nonprofit, to starting a business. It doesn't matter. The kind of skills that this organization or other organizations even teach, basic organizing skills, you'll learn how to make a pitch in a minute, like I call it a 10 and 60. Yeah. Who am I? What am I doing?
Elevator
How
pitch,
does it exactly the elevator pitch, and explain your vision in a sound bite so that it's captivating. Skills like learning how to have a one-on-one with a person with a clear intent and goals and a clear ask. Getting comfortable with asking for money. Learning how to put together a strategic plan for a campaign or a project, and then actually the steps how to get there. These are skills for business, you know, as well as for nonprofit building. I would say, you know, you don't need a lot of money to start a nonprofit. What you do need, though, is the ability to ask people for money, and you need the ability to write. You need to be able to write down what you're doing and write that down and make an ask, write a grant for a foundation, you know. Again, those are basic skills that help set up long-lasting infrastructure, getting things clear and on paper, and having a team of people that will believe in your vision, have some kind of ownership in it, whether it's monetary or in kind or sweat equity, people that believe in what you're doing that will help you manifest that. And then, you need to write it down and have your processes in place so that you can start plugging other people into it. So that you can continue pitching it to other people and just keep growing it. I want to give a shout out to JWFJ. Check out their website. Look for their free organizing training if you're interested to get started. And to lots of other groups that do training and help people launch their dreams as well.
That's awesome.
So
this was a great.
Is that our business shout out?
That was a great episode.
Those are really business shout out. Well, we want to shout out also because this is clearly a weed loving show. The National Cannabis Festival, coming up 4/21.
4/21 is going down. We are here. We are in April.
Yes.
April is the month of Earth Day. 4/20.
Yes.
You know what it is. 4/21. It is the 3rd annual edition of the National Cannabis Festival. I am so excited to be a part of this.
Are you judging cannabis?
Yes, I am judging the fuck out of cannabis. I'm one of the judges of the Canna Tank. I'm really excited about that.
So awesome. I didn't know that.
I'm also going to be representing in the wellness booth.
Fuck yeah.
We're going to have fresh fruit and infused water. I'll be representing with the Green Life. Also, Elevation B&B. That's elevation-bnb.com. Elevation has private residences that are 420 friendly for all of the cannabis connoisseurs out there. Make sure you check us out. Shout out to being a DC resident, you know, where all this stuff is legal. Take advantage of it, man. Get used to it. You are here in the Diamond District, man. District of Cannabis.
National Cannabis Festival. It's nationalcannabisfestival.com.
Yes.
You can see the lineup. It's a dope lineup in addition to
dope. Cypress
great
Hill,
local vendors.
Backyard Band.
Yep, CI.
Yep. You can party with Backyard.
So, and you know what? Special shout out. That's why Risa Renee was in the building earlier, because National Cannabis Festival had a meeting upstairs. Caroline.
Oh, what's up?
Shout
Caroline
out.
was here?
Hey.
It's awesome.
Shout out to, and you know what? Caroline Phillips. So the most important, the most important thing
Party with Backyard.
is there are only 2 independently owned music festivals in Washington, D.C.
And that is?
The Funk Parade, even though it's a parade, but they view themselves more of a festival, and the National Cannabis Festival.
Whoop, whoop.
Every single other festival. That's not true. I mean, there's like, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like LG, you know, everything super women pro, the honey, something. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I'm not remembering this. But there's smaller things. But as far as like somebody booking national acts and booking RFK, like, you know, Broccoli City, Trelectro, like all the, you know, all things go, like none of those are independently owned. Those are all bought at some point by Live Nation or one of their subsidiaries. National Cannabis Festival is the one of 2 only independently owned and operated music festivals in the District of Columbia. Number 1. Number 1 plus is that it's a weed friendly, like non-prohibition, you know, very activated festival on government property, which means she's really going to bat the right way.
Which means that, you know, you can't smoke there.
Yes.
Wait,
No,
you can't smoke
she's
at the
advocating
National
for it.
Cannabis
And there's-
Festival?
This is about education.
There's
This is
education,
about
there's-
advocacy.
exactly.
This is about the cannabis culture
Exactly.
of DC.
Exactly.
It is not just about smoking or anything like that.
Exactly.
It's about the fact that cannabis is here and it's here to stay, and we're in the nation's capital and we're going to celebrate it.
And she's doing it the right way, and
The
like
right way.
doing it the right way, and putting in all
Indeed.
the bad to do it the right way.
Yep.
And booking Backyard every year, and booking like Cypress Hill, and doing a great job of hiring local people all the way around. And it's a woman-owned operation. It's basically her. She has a huge team and awesome people who support her, but
That's
this
great.
is Caroline's baby. So
I feel like
so
people are
it's
going to
dope.
smoke there still.
Yeah, I mean, we have to just, like disclaimer, you know what I'm saying? The asterisk, but like, yeah, no.
I'm trying to see Cypress Hill, though.
What? Come on. It's going to be
So many great hits. And CI. I love a great CI show.
Yeah.
That's
The whole lineup.
DC
There's
culture for you right
There's
there.
a poster right there on the wall.
Yes,
actually.
yes. Well, excited. Mark your calendars. Check out nationalcannabisfestival.com, and we will see you there. And, I want to give another plug for the Dump Trump, Dems for Action.
Yes.
Definitely check out our website. You can see all of the candidates up in their bios now, so you know who and what you're voting about. Yep. And that is demsforaction.nationbuilder.com, and that's Dems, DEMSFOR for action, ACTION.
And then there's that
nationbuilder.com. Yeah, we have a happy hour coming
Yes.
up this Monday at Provision number 14. It is open to the public. We're going to be having some happy hour drink specials, some food, and it'll be a chance for folks to mix and mingle with the candidates who are running for the Democratic State Committee on the Dump Trump slate, as well as, if you really want to get involved, we would love to have you involved. We need people to cover the polls, hand out our literature on June 19th, and we also need donations because we got to pay to print materials and pay designers and have happy hour events and bring people together. So if you can't make it to the happy hour fundraiser this Monday at Provision 14, you can still donate to us at demsforaction.nationbuilder.com. $5 matters, $10 matters, whatever you can give. We will use every single penny. So I'm honored again to be running on the slate with you ladies, and I encourage everyone to come out on Monday and vote on June 19th for Molly, Nikki, and Mills all running together
MNM.
on MNM
Show.
Let's hand it over to Jay Mills. Closes out with a beautiful moment of metaphysicalness.
Yes. I rolled the joint just for this.
Hey.
No pressure.
Okay.
Snap,
Snippity snap. Snap. Snippity snap. Snap. So, as you know, as I've said, I let this just manifest itself each and every week when that I'm blessed to be a part of the MNM Show, bringing this lovely metaphysicalness. And earlier, we touched on meditation and dream manifestation and the recording of dreams, the remembering of dreams, the essence of what is real, and where does your mind go when you sleep, and all of these things. So I wanted to take this metaphysical moment to really dive back into that and get into this manifestation work. I recently was going through some manifestation work myself, and had to just do some spiritual growth to level up and really get the food that was needed to see the truth of the light that is me. So when we talk about what it is to shine and who we are and what we want, the truth is that we doubt ourselves. We're afraid to shine, many of us, because we're afraid to fail at shining, Or maybe we don't think we deserve to shine. Maybe we think that someone else is the one who should get there before us. Maybe we have a shame and a guilt about shining. There are many things that we feel that can hold us back, that are blocking our chakras, that are blocking our light, that are really blocking us from being able to truly achieve the success that we say that we want. Because the universe knows your heart. You cannot lie to yourself. And I read this I read this explanation about the parable of walking on water, and how when they stepped out to walk on water with Jesus, when they looked down, started to drown. Not drown, but they started to sink. And there's a reality in walking on water and having that faith and trusting in yourself. Henry Ford said, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. And you cannot fool yourself. You cannot fool yourself. So when it comes to really, really thinking about what you want, you know, the trip that someone took me through, the exercise that they took me through, she kept asking me this question. She said, what is your vision of success? Where do you truly see yourself? When you have achieved all the goals and everything that you wanted to get, where are you? Where are you living? What are you seeing? What are you doing? What do you have? What have you done? When you really feel like I've done, what is it? And she made me go through it, like see it, visualize it. What are all the things that you truly want to accomplish to say that I have accomplished my dreams? And my dreams are so big, it terrified me. Mm-hmm. When I really, really started doing this exercise and started seeing things, I realized that I really was afraid to dream that big for myself, that I was blocking myself, that I started doubting myself, that I started saying, I'm not ready and I don't have this. Like, I broke that dream up in my brain. And I saw how I blocked myself. So I come with this metaphysical message because I always say that, you know, people think I'm so wise, but if I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. I'm leaving these messages to myself so I can look back on it later and be like, Mills, you told you said this. I can't give advice to someone else that I can't take. The universe will call me on it like, well, didn't you say this? You know? Shout out to my special friend that stay calling me out when I'm not practicing what I preach. But it's facts, man, that you have to believe fully and totally in yourself. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to look at yourself and know that you deserve to shine. You deserve to shine, because this whole earth is set up to tell you that you do not deserve to shine. They'll tell you that you need to go to school and learn about social studies and learn about Magellan and learn about the Pythagorean theorem and learn about random things that have nothing to do with what you actually want to do with your life. They tell you that after you've learned all these irrelevant things, you need to go to college so you can get a good job and work towards somebody else's dream for decades and decades and decades until you can retire. And then at the age of 65,
if you're lucky,
if you're fucking lucky, then you can finally do what it is that you want to do. Nah, I don't believe that. Not for 1 second. If they can dream their dream, I can dream my dream. And if your dream is to help somebody else's dream, then God damn it, you're a genie. Be that shit and support with all your heart. Just be honest with whatever it is that you want to do. Be the best at that, because you were called to do that. You are supposed to shine. It's what you're supposed to do. You're literally light. You are light personified. How do you know that you are light? Because if you died and your eyes were open, tell me what the fuck is missing. Your body there. Your eyes are open. But what's not there? What is that is not there? That is you. You are light. These are facts. You should shine. That is it. That is all. It's really as simple as you want to make it, but it's terrifying when you think about it, because it's like, oh my gosh, if you're not light, you're dark. When you shine, there comes the shade that blocks the shine. Who is shined for someone that did not love your light? And how much did it break your heart? Have you ever built something that someone despised you for building? These things that we want, the success that we want to have, it can be terrifying when you really start thinking about what it means to get it, what it means to be so loved that you will be hated. It's easy to come up with a bunch of excuses on why you didn't. It's easy to not even try, because then you don't fail. But I'm just here with this metaphysical message to say that you are supposed to shine. You are supposed to shine. You're supposed to dream. You're supposed to have everything that you think of, everything that you dream of. You are light. You are a slice of the all. You are a creator. You can build or destroy. You are divine. And just as divinity, the all that is all, and its infinite wisdom has saw fit to give us free will, so we must choose. And every choice to shine or not to shine, and every interaction and every conversation and every thought and everything is either shine or not to shine, love or not to love. You will always make that choice. And I say, be proactive. Choose in advance to shine. Choose in advance to have faith for the best. For be positive in the source of your light. Know that you are meant to shine. You're meant to shine. You deserve greatness. You deserve greatness. I'm saying it to you because I'm saying it to me, because I know how terrified I am of the greatness of my dreams, and how every day I work hard to actively manifest the highest possible intention of myself. I give that light to you. One love.
All right. Thank you for that.
You made me cry like 3 times over here. I don't think you saw that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Crying tears of light.
Yeah.
Yes. Tears of light and joy.
Yes, I really feel you on that.
I felt me on that. I'm going to have to rewatch
Cheers.
this, man. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Like, I real live tried to dream and tried to see my success, and I blocked it. It really shattered. It was so crazy. She was helping me dream, and like, I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's scary when you realize just how powerful you really are.
Yes.
And you've been told as a woman, as a Black person, as an other, you know, that you're not supposed to have that level of power, of that level of shine. And then when you realize you do, you're like, oh, shit.
Right.
Shit.
What the fuck?
How am I going to get there, though? Like, this journey is about to be so glorious. Where's the handbook on shining?
There's one more thing I guess I'll leave as a wisdom nugget that has just helped me with that, making it through the shine, is knowing that there are things that you have to make happen, and there are things that you have to let happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I learned that a month ago.
I'm still learning. Like, that's my daily call. Make the shit happen and let the shit happen.
Mm-hmm.
And don't try to force some shit that you're supposed to let happen, because you're going to fuck the happening up.
Yeah.
And don't try and fall back on some shit that you're supposed to make happen, because you're going to fuck that shit.
Because then it's hard to know.
It is hard to know because they seem the same.
And then you got to separate the other shit from the other shit.
Make it happen
Or
let it happen. The
Wisdom
choice is
nugget.
yours.
Fuck, wisdom nugget for real.
Wisdom
Nick.
nugget.
The biggest wisdom nugget ever.
Closing out
The
with
biggest wisdom
a
nugget
beautiful
ever.
metaphysical moment and a great wisdom nugget. Thank you, J Mills. Vote for J Mills.
Yes.
And I want to thank all our viewers again for tuning in to another MNM show. We will catch you next week with our guest Chioma Iwoa.
Yes.
She is also on the DC Dems for Action Dumb Trump Slate. She is a youth organizer and a fundraiser. So we're going to learn about what's going on with the youth and get some tips for successful fundraising. I know everyone needs to know about that. Yeah. So tune in next week, Tuesday at 9. Thank you again to One Love Massive, the whole cast, the whole crew. Shout out to all our viewers.
To Nick.
And
Nick Santos and Jesus, who's sleeping in the chair.
We'll catch everyone next time. Peace out, y'all.
Yes.
Yo.
Yes, I.